on the CARICOM thing. And I wanted to share it. Because I never really think about it like that, But now I really think about it, I say, it kind of makes sense. So I'm going to tell you what my ears say. So you know that as of July 1, the Prime Minister will be the chairman of CARICOM, right? Means him at the head of the Caribbean community, right? So someone was saying on a program, given that we have an upcoming election, what if the upcoming chairmanship of CARICOM through Dr. Andrew Holness is an endorsement by the various Caribbean leaders of his leadership?
It is an endorsement.
It is an endorsement. Yeah, right.
And I want to say this to you. The PNP would have spent years arguing and bringing down the two highest positions in government, being the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister. And I want you to take note that both have been promoted.
Right.
I want them to take the Prime Minister away. Time over one different place, go give him one deal or something. We get one different Prime Minister.
Jamie, shut your mouth.
Jamie, why would we want a different Prime Minister?
Shut up.
Why would we want a different Prime Minister? I don't
Like how they take away the next one where they say are the best Finance Minister. I think they
They don't need to take him, it's a regional thing.
No, Mr. They should take him.
It's time for him.
No, they don't need to take him. They need to stay right here in Jamaica.
No, man,
a very good job. If CARICOM can put him as their leader, if CARICOM can put him as their leader,
Tabloids that exist in the world has already tell the world that y'all need to look into what Jamaica is doing
and he was Jamaica's mother, right?
You understand me? So listen to them little people with them IQ in them little people.
But that is true. But of course, the opposition is going to say not true and call it us news like the Republicans them who didn't want to believe that Joe Biden won the election. They're gonna say it's fake news. Of course, I'm not surprised. But
Sorry, I tell you this, this has been long coming because I think it was last year. One of the regional tabloids did a polling, and Dr. Holness came out on top when they compared all the leaders. It was a polling, voting across in the region, and Dr. Holness came out on top.
True. There was a poll done for real, and Dr. Holness was on top for real. That is true. But I will say to all the PNP people listening right now, what you have in your mentality right now, it's something called blind obedience. You know what blind obedience is? Blind obedience is when you just listen to anything that your leader says or listen to anything that your party people say. You soak it in like a sponge. You don't research it. You don't do anything. You just run with it. And yes, I know run with it came from the 90s when we had the financial sector meltdown and their economic policy basically subscribe to run with it. Yeah, that is what run with it came from. And you just run with whatever they tell you.
Tari, what is the site name with the youth and the PNP use?
The site no exists. I joke him did a joke. It no exists, man. Him they say something about PNP truth or whatever. It no exists. I joke him did a joke. I'm a comedian.
Hey, Tari, listen. Beg you 15 seconds out of your time. Let me give Jamie with some more brand new things that Jamaica, this administration being to the fore. Second chance at this man.
Run out the time now. Run out the time.
Hey, quiet no man. Second chance at smile.
Time I done it. Make Trump
Yo. 100 labourite and a 1 PNP there,
You got talk, hold on now.
Jamie would shut your mouth and labourite like this. Shut up your mouth and
talk now. Hold on, we don't want an argument like that. Policies are not talking.
Travi, you're talking.
Travi, go on.
Brand new policy, second chance at smile. So you want to let your friend move to the front seat and find out. Just go to the and they will fix you brand new.
Talking at the mic, Trav. Talking at the mic.
You know, hear me? All right, me say it again. Second chance at smile.
Better now.
second chance at smiling. You know, you just go to the local health clinic and do an appointment. They will take you in and put in the mold in your mouth and bring you brand new dentures, all for free. There's also a new limb for life. If you lose a hand or a foot, brand new limb can be prosthetic leg can be made specifically for you and given to you for free, all from the Ministry of Health. And I also want to give you the big one, the giant one. I give PMP headache, bellyache, backache, and sleepless night. The National Social Housing Program, that is brand new. Andrew's initiative. This administration, that is new, never before done in a Jamaica, right? We see where the least fortunate of this society is getting a proper house being built and given to them, with everything in place, water, everything set up properly given. There are 3 brand new policies that has been introduced under this administration on top of what I gave you before.
True, and I agree. But as I say, the PNP is suffering from what Traffic would call willful ignorance, and I call blind obedience. I was researching just tonight while I was listening to the live because I heard Jamie Wood talking, and I see Jamie Wood Entertainment. So I was researching because I wanted to know what happened to Jam World, because it's a long time I don't hear about Jam World, because I know Jam World is supposed to be the 24-hour entertainment thing. Because I was wondering if the JLP just threw away the plan altogether, only to find an article from February 2025 where Minister Grange would have updated and said essentially that it's still in the works and whatnot. So I said, oh, okay, because I haven't heard much on it. And that is the major difference between the supporters of the People's National Party and the Jamaica Labour Party. The Jamaica Labour Party does research. The Jamaica Labour Party ensures that what is being said is factual. If our leaders in the party say something and we disagree with them, we will make it known that we disagree and state, hold on, I don't think we should do it like this, let us do it this way. We are well reasoned, we are independent thinkers. As opposed to the supporters of the People's National Party who just decide to listen to everything they hear. They don't challenge it. They don't criticize it. They don't research it. They just run with it. Right? And that is what I have seen consistently over the years. And I don't even have to use 2025 now to prove my point. I will go all the way back to 1980, where social media and technology did not exist, and the People's National Party would have bought out most of their media organizations, with the exception of, I think, Observer at the time, right? What did the People's National Party supporters do? You know what they did? They listened to Michael Manley. They listened to PJ. Did they question a word of what he said? No, because they never have nothing else to question it at the time. And it is the same thing that is happening now. They have everything at their disposal to question it now, and they choose not to question it because of the mentality that they live in and the mentality that the People's National Party has put them in. And I will say that it is a great injustice to the supporters of the PNP because Mark Golding has failed to educate some of y'all. Mark Golding has failed to give you guys truth. He has failed to ensure that you can come into the media with proper information. He has failed to do that. So, that's
So
just
let me ask you, Tari. You're like a young school friend and we are 17 like you. How them a think about the country?
Well, when I speak, well, I'm not really at school now, but for the times that I've spoken to them, a majority of my colleagues are Rockstone colleagues. Anyways, a majority of my colleagues are in agreement with the current government right now. They don't see a need for a real change, to be honest. Some of them have some controversial views, which I will say I have a friend who believes that the offenses for criminals should match, not the offenses, the sentencing for criminals should match the offense they committed. That is a whole different story. But they are, majority of them are favorable when it comes to this government. They favor this government really. Just based on what they've seen in terms of really the law and what's happening in the country. So yeah.
So you just say them I say them future look bright.
Yeah, pretty much. They believe their future looks bright, and I was surprised that some of them even could already see the dangers of the People's National Party and the dangers of Mark Golding. I was surprised that some of them see that. I didn't know they saw that, but that was a major surprise for me.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All right. Just hold it. Let's look up. We'll make some other people talk. Just stay now again next round, yeah? And we'll go
Yeah,
for
man.
the topics now. Tiling or tailing. Tailing 1522. Unmute your mic, tailing. Just press on your picture and press the mic. Right, Jamie Wood, step up.
Yeah, man. Glory be to the Most High. Give thanks to life. Burn it down to the ground. All right. We listen everything and we realize everybody rehearse and everybody do them thing what them gonna say.
What you say, the real? Here, time.
Yes. I would have so wished that Jamie Wood was still here. Jamie Wood gone. Jano. But anyways, it's interesting that he said he went to Panama last year, May, and he said that he automatically saw the difference and fell in love with it. And I did some digging whilst everybody else was talking, and it is no surprise to me that Jamie Wood fell in love with a corruption government in Panama, as it is in the PNP's DNA to love corruption. So, let me just give you the analysis. So, I decided to look up what is the government structure of Panama right now because him said Panama is similar to the Jamaica. So I said, okay. So the ruling party in Panama right now is a party called Realizing Goals. They are a conservative political party. They're center right to right wing. So then basically essentially similar to the JLP because the JLP is also conservative and we're center right. So I'm gonna say okay, but there's no way for me to see the ideology of this political party in Panama. So I'm gonna say okay. So I'm gonna go up on chat GPT and say, alright, let me see, compare the Realizing Goals Party economic policy alone, right, in Panama to the JLP in Jamaica. And this is what it said. This is how them similar, right? The Conservative Party in Panama and the JLP in Jamaica, the two of them like support business and investments, right? And they believe the economy grow best when private companies do well and create jobs. So I say, alright, cool. It said them like build road and infrastructure and buildings. So I say, cool. Him said the two of them also try to keep taxes low for attract investors and help people spend money. So I say, cool. And it said they focus more on growing the economy rather than giving out a lot of free money. I'm gonna say, alright, cool. So I can see with that. So then it'll tell me how the two of them different now. And this is what it said. The JLP in Jamaica is seen as more careful with money. They've been working hard to pay off national debt and manage the budget responsibly. But the Conservative Party in Panama has spent a lot of money on big projects. But it also led to accusation of corruption and overspending. The JLP tries to work well with international partners like the IMF, because you know, they work with the International Monetary Fund. But the one in Panama has had a more populist style, making big promises to public, sometimes without focusing as much on long-term planning. It goes on to state that also, well, the JLP's leader Andrew Holness is seen as more stable and calm. whilst the Panama leader is more controversial and has had legal trouble being accused of corruption. So I'm say, okay. So it is no surprise to me that Jamie Wood, when he went to Panama, he already fell in love with Panama because him love the freeness and the corruption with the Panama government are going with, even though they are a conservative party leading, they have a conservative party leading the government. So I say, okay. But he also said something interesting. He said that the Panama dollar is, he was talking about cost of living and saying about how the Panama dollar essentially work more and it basically can work in Panama. So I decided to go look on the converter now. Because I think he said about 10 Panama, them currency name the Panamanian Balboa. So I say, alright, how much a 10 Panama dollars in a Jamaican dollars, right? So I say $1,589.86. So that's about $1,600. So I say, okay. So I say, let's go with 3 Panama dollars, because he said about $3 to bread down there. So 3 Panama dollars in Jamaican dollars is $476, basically $500. And he's gonna say that Panama is more able to afford bread than Jamaica when the exchange rate is basically the same as the price of bread in this country. Now let me look at the $10 that he said, and I said that's about $1,600. Now, when bread is for $500, so that's a $500. 1 pound of chicken about $350. That's a $850. Right, so let me go back a little bit. 7, 6, 5, 6. Right? That's $850. Right? So you can clearly see here, and if I'm supposed to subtract 850 from the 1,600, that's $750 we're left with. Right? Which essentially leaves me with 6 Panama dollars. So So he is suggesting or proposing to us that the Panama dollar, which seems to work better for them and their cost of living situation is better than the Jamaican dollar. And I'm looking here at the exchange, the currency exchange thing, and the two of them, and I have exchanged the Panama dollar to the Jamaican dollar, and the two of them are basically within the same range in terms of how much or things would cost here in Jamaica as opposed to what they would cost in Panama. Him said $3 for bread in a Panama, and I said already, $3 in Panama dollar is 476 Jamaican dollars and 96 cents, which is basically $500. So I have already disputed one thing that he has said. So why do I say this now? I say this for one reason and one reason only. Panama is not much different from Jamaica. And the currency alone here has shown me that the $3 that he claims can buy bread that he says is that he claims can do more things than the Jamaican dollar. If I look at the Jamaican dollar right now, it's basically $500. You know, I think the PNP needs to check what they're gonna talk about before they say anything on the public space. Because it didn't take me, it took me less than 5 minutes to just go and check who is the government in Panama, how similar are they to the JLP, how similar is Panama's currency to the Jamaican currency, and the two currencies are not far apart. But he's going to come on this program and has the audacity to state that when he went to Panama, he saw a major difference than Jamaica. Panama is barely different from Jamaica. Barely. Yes, Pluma, I know that, but he didn't specify which one they were using, so I was forced to just use the Panama dollar. So, which is what I used.
Tari,
But
Tari,
yes, Paul.
one thing before you complete and before me come on, but just want you have to appreciate that your level of intellectual reach is a little bit far ahead of a lot of the people who like Jamming and company, you know. So don't mistake the fact that would have the type of intellectual reach and do your research and analyze it in a detailed way. And he can't. And it's no fault of his, you know. He hasn't got the intellectual reach as you. So do that in mind.
All right, fair. I'm not going to dispute that. But what I will say also is that every one of us can know how to come on social media and join a TikTok live and give our comments and respond and just move on with your life. If you're able to do that, I don't see why you can't be able to just go on Google and type up something and then go about your business. You know that just one tap. And that is how I see it, you know. And as you say that, Paul, as you say that, I recognize that in this country, the laborites, the JLP supporters and the JLP as a party is often held to a higher standard than the People's National Party.
Without a doubt. Hands down.
Hands down, right?
Sorry.
And I realize, and as you said that, it kind of clicked me. We're always held to a higher standard because of our higher intellect than the supporters of the People's National Party. Whenever the People's National Party commits any act of corruption, you don't see the civil society groups come out against it. It's almost as if it's expected. It's basically like, oh, well, that's PNP for you. Nothing different, the dog. However, if the JLP is to do something that they see as bad, best believe everybody, all of the civil society group, them a kill we off.
Like a vulture and dead meat.
Like vulture. And dead meat. So, you know, as you said that, it even clicked that in my brain too. But making my final point and then I give Paul the floor.
Alright.
You see what we are facing here right now is the battle for the soul of our nation, you know. And I don't think people recognize that. Either because we don't want to be interested in politics for whatever reason, or we don't think that the government has vested enough effort to let us know the information, or we know the information and we choose to just ignore it and be ignorant. But we are in the battle for the soul of the nation. And I say this for many reasons. I'm a 17-year-old right now, as many of you know. I can't vote. But the rest of you on this program, I can't vote yet, right? Not right yet. Thank you very much. But every one of you on this, yes, Quitty.
But when you talk about the policies where you see the JLP government have.
Alright, may I get to that too? Like, yeah, man, may I go get in on that too. But everyone else here on this program can vote and can add their voice to the democratic process. Right? My future depends on you people. My future depends on all of you. Whatever decision you choose, that me have to go work with. The decision that you make now, you make them for your children. You make it for their futures, so that they can be able to live in a Jamaica live in a Jamaica where they can live work, raise families, and do business, right? But when I look at the policies that this party has put in place, though,
Yeah, for the young
when we
kids.
talk about for the young people, when we talk about the new social housing program, when we talk about the Hope program, opportunities for young people to get jobs. As a matter of fact, there was the YSEP opening, there was the Youth Summer Employment Program. That's happened recent. That the right the function for the opening of it yesterday, I believe it occurred. Right, and Prime Minister was there. Prime Minister was there speaking. There, that has also been one of the major policies that we have made. When the government also removed guarantors for student loan. So now you don't have to be running up and down finding people to say, well, if anything happens, I will, you know, um, stand in the gap for that person, right? A lot of more greater benefits have been added onto student loan, as a matter of fact, where food assistance and other things are concerned. The PATH program has been expanded, right? Additionally, and the other the health policies, I'm not even gonna say it's just for youth, because the health is really everybody, and the government has even been spending time to improve our primary healthcare facilities. Those are our health centers in our various communities right now, right? And I believe Dr. Tufton said in his presentation that one of the major things that he wants to accomplish is to ensure that um persons don't have to go to hospitals to get certain types of treatments again. They can just go straight to the health center. No, because the health center is getting those resources, right? Health centers are going to be open up till 10 p.m. now, right? Because of course, all the resources and the various employment I'm given, right? We look at, I could say, national security, right? In terms of crime being on the low right now, many persons feel safer. And because many persons feel safer, right, not only in their communities but on the road, that feeling of security has allowed for an increase in productivity, right? And not only an increase in productivity, I'd say, but it has also allowed for the increase in a lot of our youths gaining an education, in the sense that you know that a lot of our youths would have been recruited by many of these criminal organizations. And with the reduction of crime, I would say that greater avenues have been provided for many of these inner city youths in communities to go and either find work. They can go to Heart Trust NSTA. People are being paid to learn a trade, right? First in his trip, them a pay you for go hard for learn things so that you can sustain yourself. And what we need to understand with the Jamaica Labour Party is simply put, the quote says, you give a man a fish, him eat for a day. You teach a man how to fish, him eat for life. The Jamaica Labour Party is about teaching you how to fish so that you can sustain yourself for your life. The Labour Party is not going to give you something to make you feel good in the moment, to feel good in the day. And then when next day come now, you don't know what you have to do. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to teach you what to do. We're going to give you the resources and put them at your disposal so that you can be able to do what is necessary. And Andrew Holness put it in a nice way. The government is not here to give you things. The government is here to create the conditions necessary so that you, as a person, can go and taste and see the opportunities that have been provided. We're here to create the conditions necessary so that you can partake in the Jamaica that we all want to live in, live, work, raise families, and do business. So we're not a handout government, and I know a lot of PNP supporters are upset that we're not giving them things. And they
Physically
can't
like
come
that.
on the JUTC bus anymore and say, well, my party. They can't come on the JUTC bus and say, oh, my party is in power, so I'm not for paying a bus fare. They can't do that again. Alright? J. Ross, I'm glad that you are here. I wouldn't mind if you could join me in the box, because I was even asking you about reading and you left the program. But anyways, why are we beating down Damian Crawford Goat initiatives? I'll let one of the other senior people handle that actually. But what I will say though, there's a fundamental difference in how the JLP and PNP operates. The JLP will sit through the plans of the PNP and say, I actually like this policy. And I was even reading a Nationwide article some time ago, and I saw what's her name? Patricia Duncan Sutherland saying that we need an elderly advocate. That's something that I could put my support behind. Making an elderly advocate. That's one of the PNP ideas that I say I can agree with.
Ideas.
As I said before, I'm passing on your question to one of the other senior persons because I don't respond to things that I know that I can't speak about effectively. Hence, I let one of the other senior persons handle it.
All right.
Right? But we have always been the party of communication, negotiation, willing to see through your ideas and policies. I remember when Andrew Holness was Minister of Education, and usually how the ministers work is that any paper where the previous minister did have with them name or whatever, them just move it and make everything look brand new. Andrew Holness, when he came into the Ministry of Education, it was every single thing that had Maxine Henry Wilson on it, him use up everything till it done for Maxine Henry Wilson before him even do nothing new. You know? So it all boils back down, as I said before, to mentality. The People's National Party tells you, oh, the government corrupt, the Prime Minister no integrity. Oh, you can't vote in that man because him terrible for the country. And and time come, and they must call the election now. And you don't see what they're doing in the IC. Rubbish. The PNP engages in something called projection. And if you don't learn anything else new from me tonight, learn that word, projection. You know what projection is? Projection is when you accuse people of something that you in yourself knowingly know you are doing. So you project things onto people. So the PNP projects onto the JLP. The PNP projects onto the JLP that the JLP have no integrity. Or the JLP is corrupt, basically. Right? The PNP would have talked about the FID recently and Dennis Chung. You know why they're afraid of Dennis Chung? They're not afraid of Dennis Chung because of the IC and his comments on the matter that relating to the Prime Minister's 28 accounts. By the way, Mark Golding has 32 and counting, so there's also that. But the PNP is not afraid of Dennis Chung because of that. You know why they were afraid of Dennis Chung? They were afraid of Dennis Chung because one, Dennis now going to have to investigate the 32. And not only that, but the KSAMC matter was released in the same week when Lawrence Rowe did the whole bombshell thing and gave the recordings to Mocha. The FID is going to also have to deal with that. So I say this to the People's National Party, you're on a slippery slope and your days are numbered. Your days are well numbered. And I think the PNP recognizes that they can't win with Mark Golding, but they can't remove him either because Mark Golding would have changed their party constitution to say that nobody can challenge him. And not only that, too, but it's close to an election, and the party doesn't want to look like they're in disunity before a national election, right? Them don't want to look awkward. So them said, sure, me could just go with Mark Golding. If anything, you know, we know we are going to lose anyways. Yeah. The PNP can talk about the Prime Minister's 28 bank accounts, knowing fully well that Mark Golding has 32 and counting. Projection again. The PNP talks about what else do they talk about? They can talk about what do you call that now? Oh my god, I just had it and it slipped my tongue. But anyways, Mark Golding made a reference even as of recent, saying that the JLP can buy votes, could probably buy out the next election. If I recall, it was the PNP Patriot saying in a meeting with Mr. Saeed. He's on video, by the way. I can pull up the video, or I can give Squitty the video where he's saying, you either buy the votes if you need to buy the votes. He's saying that to the PNP Patriots, their youth organization in the PNP. Projection again. Andrew Swaby says the JLP can possibly lock up people for this election, and don't be fooled if them raid out the place and whatnot. So who was it that locked up Pernell Charles and Olivia Babsy Grange, and who was it that raided Tivoli and Denhamton and Hannahtown and Gold Street? Who was it that raided those places? By the way, I just want to know. I just want to know. All of that right there is projection. We look at the PMP saying that, oh, if we have Dennis Chung in the FID, that he should not be in the IC because it's corrupt and him go take care of Andrew business. Who was it that who said in 2004 that they ensure that all the institutions are filled with their PNP people?
PNP person, name is Aluna Samba.
Aluna Samba. You know, I just find the projection glaring because everything the PNP says, you can either look back in history. Everything that the PNP said the JLP go do, you can look back in history and see where the PNP has done it before. They have done it before. The PNP has also been having a lot of Freudian slips lately. You know what a Freudian slip is? A Freudian slip is where it's like you accidentally say something, right? But a more fleshed out definition is, it's like unconsciously you never mean to say it, you know, so you don't realize say you say it. Or you don't realize say you do it. But only after you look back on it and say, oh shucks. Right? So the PNP mayor at the Forensic Club openings said for Kingston and St. Andrew, the mayor of Kingston and St. Andrew said that the people of Kingston and indeed Jamaica deserve nothing but less. I never knew we deserve nothing. I never knew we deserve less. Right? Mark Golding can say that it's time to get busy and get wicked pan them to call labor right now, give up so easy. Peter Bunting can say that the government does not deserve credit for the reduction in crime, but it is in spite of them, essentially saying that, hey, the government not supposed to get no credit for crime, you know, it's because of their ill action or inaction why crime go down. And that them are saying. The PNP Danishka Williams down in West St. Anne can say they're going to give $1 billion to TikTokers to do journalism. The same TikTokers who are spreading misinformation. So I look at all of this and I say, are these really things that they unconsciously said and didn't mean to say, or is this their actual mentality? Because if this is their actual mentality, God help us, God help this country. God alone can help this country if this is their actual mentality. And the quote tells you, it tells you that when a person shows you themselves the first time, you should believe them.
Believe them.
Mark Golden has said that he and him Tapanari set of people go around the country when them win election. If them win the election, not even when. If them win the election. God forbid if them win.
God forbid. God forbid.
God forbid. But I look at all of these Squitty and Mark and everybody else on the live. I look at all of these comments and I say, them people are gonna really just ignore the fact, ignore so them literally say and have everything else in front of it as of now. People are gonna just ignore that. Let us not do what our friends up north did, people. The orange man up there had all the information in front of them, and I'm sorry if anyone supports Donald Trump on this live. I am so sorry. I don't like the man. If you vex, you vex. So I am so sorry. The orange man would have presented everything to them. He even said in a video, I think it was a video in the early 2000s, where he said if he's supposed to run for president, he'd run under the Republican Party because they're the dumbest set of voters in this country. He said that on video. Right? So I find it glaring that the information is right in front of us and we choose to ignore it. And as I'm saying, let us not be like our friends up north, where Mr. Trump would have put everything in front of them face. He would have stated everything on the political platform. He would have said everything right in front of them. The people them still vote for him. And now they are regretting what they have voted for. They don't appreciate what they have voted for. And I look at these people and I say, well, that is what you voted for, so you just have to work with it. And we literally want to tell them, don't vote for this, but you still vote for it. What will we do? Squitty, J-Rush, the PNP J-Rush is in his exuberance. He wants to come on the
Coming at the
live.
box now, brother.
So request to join, Jay, because I see you're very enthusiastic.
Coming at the box,
tonight.
J-Rat.
So actually, it's a join. Yeah, since you're
Yeah, I would have really like him debate, yeah.